And we're going to focus on, you saw this slide earlier, we're going to focus on just the automotive section here, which deals with the automotive aftermarket, dealerships, service and repair. And as we mentioned before, the total number of vehicles are going to increase. So we've already talked about that you've got improved coatings, so that kind of takes away, limits the growth, but the fact that there's just a sheer increase in the number of vehicles on the road is going to create growth. I'm sorry that my back is to you guys.
You're all right, no worries. We can hear you.
And now that we have introduced the new automotive line, and we're going to be adding the petro products, we will be we should be a one-stop supplier for all the products. There should be a total of 20 or 21. And as I said, they will look like this as you sell them right now. We've got to run out of that inventory. We're in the process of rebranding them as ZEP. I'm told they will have the stacker cap on them. They took the pictures of them, so that's what they need to look like. But I really like that design. And like I said, they are in most of the products except for the brake cleaners and glass cleaner and a couple of the paint removers. They are in a smaller size package. It's a 16-ounce can. As I mentioned before, there are 5 brake cleaners. As you know, and well, you may not know if you haven't sold it, but we have a brake wash, brake flush VOC. The reason for that is to cover all the VOC regions. We now have an additional brake wash to cover an additional VOC area, which I'll go into later. And this basically, we're going to talk about the 5 W's, the who, what, when, where, and why. So all of this is going to be integrated into the presentation as we go along. Okay, there we go. The first is why. Why to go auto? Well, we have a lot of reasons. Number one, Moody told us to. First and foremost. But there were good reasons. The business reasons were having automotive chemicals in the line allows for a complete catalog. Like I said before, we'll be a one-stop shop, and the ability to sell to both the front of a dealership as well as the back. Consolidated billing makes the parts manager's life easier. That means they have one vendor. They don't have to go and buy stuff from different people. It's the single point of customer service. The automotive chemicals, especially aerosols, are some of the highest usage products in a dealership. And ZEP is the manufacturer of several OEM branded chemicals. These products have been used successfully in the OEMs, most specifically Toyota, and it's been very successful. The ZEP branded chemicals are held and tested to a higher standard, so we're good products. We lose sales to lower quality aftermarket brands, such as when you start getting out there, you're probably going to hear names like MOC, VG, and Valvoline. So those where, like before with the lubes and pins, if you're familiar with Kroll and CRC and PB Blaster, these will now be your new competitors. And
is there any letter for OEM to say that these meet or exceed OEM standards?
No, there is not. We don't have any testing that specifically does that. It's just that they have been using them. Okay. Well, let's see. I was going to use this as an example. Basically, the reason I like these products, they have an automotive industry look and lingo. This, as an example, is successfully used by the OEMs, the original equipment manufacturers. They are all 50-state compliant formulas, so all the VOC regions are covered. These products do have consumer product safety labeling, so before we were hindered a little bit with industrial labels because you could only do it in certain places, you had restrictions, but this has the CPSC labeling, so it's not as restricted. You have the smaller sizes to fit in shop shelf areas, and they are geared specifically for the automotive industry. So here you've got, I don't have a sample of brake cleaner, but this, it looks pretty industrial, and here's like glass cleaner. You've got the little Greek leaves. Do you think a mechanic would rather use this or something that looks like this?
Are these products available?
All right, as I said, that's what it looks like currently. That is what you will be selling. And this is what it's going to. It's going to be ZEP branded. We're keeping the same packaging, keeping the same labels. Okay. So that was pretty much the why. Where to go? You have automotive dealerships, you have vehicle auctions, you have car rental fleets, and you have any type of body or paint repair. Maintenance shops at your dealerships. All right, these are some key application areas that you can target within the shop. You've got, brake changes, of course, battery care, engine repair, hand soaps, mechanic, customer, hand care, heavy duty floor cleaning, parts washers, facility cleaning, and vehicle detailing products. All right, the who to go to. You can go to your service managers, you can go to the technicians, you can go to accounts payable, you can go to general managers. These are just some of the who's that you can target to try and get products in the door. And Chad's gonna talk to us about this.
Yeah. Before I get into this, let me preface this. So, how many people in the room have called on auto dealerships? So that's good. I think until now, and correct me if I'm wrong, until marketing and the development team had put together the product line we currently have, we were really going in there and selling them juice. We were selling them, obviously we had some of the same products, like we had brake wash, right? We had brake cleaner, but now it's marketed, labeled appropriately to the actual dealerships. So what I want to go over is specifically automobile dealerships, because this is something that the TSRs and people on the ground can do right now. Some of the consolidated type business is going to be more difficult, longer sales cycle. So I wanted to talk about a couple things. First of all, when you walk into a dealership, if you're a salesperson, such as we all are, and myself included, I'm always looking to go straight to the decision maker, because I want to close the sale as quickly as possible. I'm not there, obviously I want to have a sort of building of a relationship type process and have a conversation, but I'm not there just to make friends, I'm there to make a sale. However, within a dealership, there's a lot of roles that I think when people go into dealerships to make a sale, they don't take into account, which will ultimately potentially impact the sale. So I just want to talk about some of the roles that are within the dealership that you can pass along to your TSRs. Some of you may have experience in this, so I just want to make sure I touch on it, but it's for the folks that haven't. So technicians, a lot of times we don't take those people into account because we're like, well, they're not buying the product per se. We're not going to have conversations with them. But please understand that those are the folks that are going to be using the product. So they influence the buying process. They may not influence it initially, but if they don't like the product's not effective, you're going to have issues, because it's just going to go up the chain. And the last thing, if you ever talk to a service manager or a GM of a dealership, they don't want to hear slack or issues from their big service technicians that have been around for a long time. They're trying to make those guys happy. So the other big thing that happens in regards to technicians, they actually receive spiffs. So that's an obstacle that you need to understand that exists. And that's been in dealerships for as long as I can remember, not just on the technicians, but also the service advisors, and we'll get to that in a moment. But there's a lot of companies out there that still do spiffs, some of which are mom and pop locations or mom and pop operations, and some of which are people like mock. They may even throw contests, spiffs, and stuff like that out there. So just understand that that's out there, and that's going to be a potential obstacle that we have to overcome if it's applicable. The techs get paid per allotted time to complete a job. So the effectiveness and the efficiency of the product is going to directly impact them. And I would argue, if you look at some of the data that I've looked at from the ZEP Automotive team, and you'll get this information, but some of the charts and statistics that I've seen, I would argue that our products are better than anybody out there. So we just need to do a better job of marketing those products and closing the deal and selling that. So if you could, Jordan. So the service advisors. This is an interesting group of individuals. Some of them have been around for a long time. These guys and gals receive spiffs as well. A lot of times, I dealt with I don't know how many service advisors over the years in the rental car industry, but I can tell you they've oftentimes been in their position for a long time. You wouldn't necessarily know it, but a lot of these guys make well over six figures in what they're doing every single day. So they're well paid, well comped for what they do, and they pull a lot of power from the dealership. So they're not necessarily going to be the decision maker ultimately, but they certainly will have an impact. It's imperative that you see the advisors at least twice a month. Now obviously when I'm speaking about this, I'm not talking about necessarily you folks, but but obviously not me, I can't go around to every dealership, but a TSR role, if they're in a localized area, they're gonna have to spend some time, if they want this business. If you don't want the business, then don't ever go see them. But if you want the business, and some of these big dealerships will give you, they'll sell a lot of product, but you're gonna have to be in their face a couple times a month, especially if you're not spiffing them, because it's all gonna be based on a relationship. The competitors are constantly in their face with advisors. Teams like Mach, they go in there with iPads, and you can order the product straight from their iPad. And it's click, 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 done and over with. So they're there all the time, and we have to sort of follow suit. So I don't think twice a month is an excessive, reach, if you will. They're the first customer-facing element. Therefore, again, if the products are effective and they do what they're supposed to do, they're gonna appreciate that, because it makes their jobs easier. The customers don't bring the cars back. These guys get graded heavily on customer service. Some of you may know, but one of the largest payouts in a given dealership, annualized, is the customer service bonus. GMs oftentimes get fired. You'll see a GM turnover as soon